and today we're going to do another story time and get ready with me using makeup that I do get from my subscription boxes. So if you don't know, I do have a main channel called Just Ann, and over there I stick to mainly unboxings. So I do subscription boxes, mystery boxes, stuff like that. And then over on this channel, I use the products and then kind of review them, do kind of like a first impressions and tell you what my thoughts are as I'm doing story times. So if you want to hear the time that my baby's dad cheated on me for almost 3 years and me and the girl got into plenty of fist fights over him, and I want to hear the outcome to the story, then keep on watching. Alright, I only have my skincare on per usual. I do have my eyebrows done. I went in with my Clean Canvas by Gerard Cosmetics, the eyeshadow primer. And I also went in, oh, I must have put it away. I also went in with my e.l.f. setting powder. It's $3, and I set my eyelids with that. Alright, so today we're going to use the 2 palettes by Nabla Cosmetics. I got these in a Tread Mood box. I'll leave that unboxing down below just in case you haven't seen that yet or want to see everything that was in that box. But I got the Midnight palette right here. Kind of matches my background. And those are the beautiful colors right there. And then I got the Analog palettes. And those are the shades right there. They are just absolutely gorgeous. So I'm going to start with the Analog palette, and I'm going to go in with this shade called Contact. What is it called? Contact Sheet right there as my transition shade. I was going to share a story time, but something had happened the other day that made me really think, you know what, I need more of a fluffier brush. I'm going to go in with the Morphe X Jaclyn Hill brush, and I can't even read what this is. I think it's a JW20 brush. Go back in with that one shade. And, oh yeah, this is perfect. So my daughter, who's 20, she'll be 21 July 31st, and she has a friend, and her friend just had a baby. And her friend and the boyfriend and the girl that just had the baby are always arguing and stuff like that. And she comes over here a lot, and she always asks me advice, you know, kind of like a mother figure. And it reminded me so much when I was younger, right? I got pregnant at the age of 18, had my first son at 19. Now, I never had a father. My father died when I was 6 years old, and prior to his death, my mom and my father were married, but they weren't together. He was very abusive to her. He was on drugs and stuff like that. So I don't even remember what my father looked like. I don't even know his voice, anything like that. So I don't even know the word dad, right? And so as my teenage years came, you know, I started to rebel, and I wanted to have I wanted the life I would see my aunt and uncle who's been married for many, many years. You know, I always wanted that life of a mother, father, baby, that family life, right? And so I had went to the first guy. I mean, I had boyfriends in high school and stuff like that. And, but you know, it was more like puppy love, you know what I mean? It wasn't you know. And so when I was 17, I went to this party with one of my friends, and I met this guy, and oh my God, I thought he was so good looking, you know, and all the girls were flirting with him and stuff, but he came to me and he was flirting with me, and I just felt so haha, you know, I don't know, when you're 17, you're like that, right? And so then me and him start talking. Now back then was when it was beepers. You didn't really have a cell phone. So cell phones were out, but it was only celebrities who had it, or I don't even know. I think they might have had the car phones. I'm not sure. But, you know, 17-year-old, a normal person isn't really going to have that unless you had money. You know what I mean? Now, where I came from, no. So we had all those beepers and stuff, and I remember, like, you know, he would beep and it would say like 911, or how you do the I love you with the numbers, you know what I mean? Then you hold it upside down, or hello, or something like that. You know, it was cute. And so we talked on the phone all the time, and like we would fall asleep talking on the phone, because back then, so you had landlines, and then they had this thing called teenage phones, right? And so I had my own phone line in my bedroom. And so that way anybody can call me and it wouldn't go to the other house. So, you know, somebody can call 12 o'clock at night if nobody knew. You know what I'm saying? It was kind of like that. So my mom never knew, like even on a school night, like, you know, well, at that time I wasn't in school. I stopped going to school at 16, let's be real. But, you know, prior to me talking to him, like, she never knew I was staying up all night on the phone. You know, you do that whispering and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, with him, so I worked, and I remember like talking to him to 2, 3 in the morning till I fell asleep, and then I had to get up early the next day to go to work. Now, he was a few years older than me, so I was 17, I believe he was 20. Let me see, I was born in 76, he was born in 73. So yeah, he was like 3 years older than me. So that's another reason why I was like, oh, I got this older guy. Excuse me. He had his own place, he had a car, he had a job, and I was just like, oh my God. I don't know, stupid puppy love, you know? The law of attraction, right? And I'm still with that one shade, just going in little by little, and then just blending it out. Now, he already had 2 kids, okay? I know, at 20. He had, the girl that he had dated prior had a baby, and when that, which was not his, and when that baby was 2 months old, okay, she got pregnant with his baby. So the first one wasn't his, but he raised him since he was 2 months old. And fun fact, he still, that the little boy still considers him his father. Do you know what I mean? And so that's why I said when he had 2 kids, but biologically he only had 1 kid, right? And he was such a good father, you know. And Christmas time, like, he went all out and bought like the kids, like they were 3 and 4 when me and him got together, and he bought them like $1,000 worth of clothes. Now back then, $1,000, that was a lot of money. We're going into like the early 90s. I think I met him in 1994. So $1,000 for baby clothes, for kids clothes, that was a lot of money. And then sneakers and all that stuff. And you know, because I was so dumb, young and dumb, I'm thinking materialistic things means you love them, right? And so I was like, oh my God, he would be the perfect father for my baby, you know, and all I mean, oh God. So I look at that now at the age of 45, you know, my mid-40s, like, how stupid was I, right? He always had got his kids, you know. And so I was only with him for 4 months when I got pregnant. I know. And the relationship was really good. Now, I'm telling you this because it's going to kind of, for you to understand, where I can understand where my daughter's friend and the guy, you know, and then what I have been trying to talk to her, you know. So I just want to share my own experience, how young and dumb I was, right? So I'm looking in, and there's not like another like shade, except for like this dark shade, and I really don't want to use that. So, oh gosh, I don't know what eye look I want to do. Let me think. I'm gonna go into like a smaller brush. This is the Morphe, I can't read it, E something 7, maybe E17, I'm not sure. It's like wiped off. And I'm going to go in with the darker shade. It's called Camera Roll, but I'm gonna go in very lightly. That's pretty too. Anyway, so I get pregnant. I don't know where I left off. So I get pregnant, and I remember telling my mom. So at that, now I'm 18, and I remember my mom was 42, and I think I shared this story before, and I remember telling her I was pregnant. I think it was like maybe 6 weeks, maybe 2 months when I told her. And she was like, oh my God, I'm too young to be a grandmom. And I remember thinking, oh my God, you're 42, you're old, you're not young. Now I look at 45, I don't have any grandkids, but it's like I'm too young, right? Anyway, and I really did think that's so funny. And of course, they didn't like it. Now, I had shared another video of me dating outside my race and how they felt about it and how some of my family members disowned me. I'll leave it down below, but I'm not going to get into that. I'm just going to get into more of the relationship between me and him. So anyway, so now I am pregnant, and they weren't very accepting for many different reasons. And so I started basically, I moved in with them. You know, I started staying over there a lot more until I was just always over there. I noticed him and the boy's mother, we'll call her, I have my makeup wipes right here from Ulta, Bliss. So we'll call her Bliss. And Bliss was not, now he had told me ahead of time they were broke up for a while before me and him start talking. And prior to me like getting pregnant or like moving in, you know, he used to get his kids a lot. And there have been times where he wanted to get his kids and I was like, you know what, just gotta take me home, spend time with your kids, with your boys. I was so naive, you know what I mean? And so then he would take me home and different things like that. And I knew she didn't like the fact that she didn't want me around the kids. And I just figured normal, young kids, stupid, jealous, whatever. And it didn't bother me, you know, because I just believed everything he told me. And so when I started moving in, I noticed like she called all the time and he would never answer the phone. I would go to answer and he's like, no, don't answer it, you know. And I'm so stupid. I just believe like, you know, she was just jealous. Well, he was in this like bowling league, you know, and so he would always, now I'm 18 now, he's 21 now, and he would always go to this bowling league. Now I'm pregnant, so back then that's when you were allowed to smoke cigarettes and all that kind of stuff wherever you wanted, and you could drink there in the bowling thing as long as you were 21. And I just, this was before like I ever did any drugs or like, and I never did smoke cigarettes or anything. So I just didn't want to go. I was like, go ahead, go, have fun. I wanted to be that perfect, like, girlfriend, right? So he would always go, and then he would always go to, like, the bars because he was 21. Of course, I didn't go because I wasn't 21 and they ID'd and I was pregnant, and of course I just trusted him. He'd come home 2 o'clock in the morning. I never questioned him. I didn't want to be the nagging type. I didn't want to be jealous. You know what I'm saying? Jeez, I was so dumb. Well, one day she was calling and calling and calling, and I'm still pregnant now, and I answer the phone. And she's like, who's this? And I say, it's Ann. She goes, and she always told me how they were still talking and they were still sleeping together. You know what I mean? And I remember I was so mad. And I was like, well, I live here. You know what I mean? Now, he had already told me that he told her that I was pregnant. He was in a new relationship. However, that was not the case, right? And so anyway, we're like mad and going, you know, saying, you know, back and forth or whatever. I hang up the phone and I'm not kidding. He comes in the door and I'm like, are you still talking to this girl? Are you still talking to Bliss? You told me y'all are still talking. And how does she know about the bowling leagues on Tuesday nights and you going over there, you know? And he was like, Ann, she's lying. She's just jealous. And I did bowling when I was with her, so she knew the days and she's just trying to break us up and blah. And I was so stupid. I believed him because I'm like, well, that's how girls are. They're jealous. They don't like it. Dumb, dumb, dumb. Okay, I'm going to go on my lid with the shade Sapphire here, and then I'm going to go on top of that with this. This is like, what shade is this? Alma? And this is like a very light white bluish color, kind of like to lighten it up. That is gorgeous. Anyway, now I didn't have my own car at that time, so it wasn't like I could have went up there and like sneaked up on him when he went to the bowling league and all that stuff because I didn't have a car, you know what I mean? Anyway, she would always tell me that stuff. And then she would tell me how, like, you know, he was abusive to her. That's why they broke up. He put her hands on her. And I'm like, I just didn't believe it because he never put his hands on me. Now, I worked at Walmart when I was pregnant, okay? And when I got pregnant, I worked in the fitting room. You know, where I can sit down and all that kind of stuff because I was considered a high risk because I started dilating at, I'm just going to get a makeup wipe. I started dilating when I was 20 weeks pregnant because I didn't know I was diabetic then. And so I was still working. I was on birthing. I wasn't supposed to work, but I did tell the job. And I was still working because I needed the money. Anyway, so I was a high risk. I was like a half a centimeter dilated. Anywho, I'm still young and dumb doing stupid shit. I'm just going to clean this up because I have it all over the place right here. Just the blue up. And then when I'm done, I'll clean this area up. So I remember his mother, okay? She comes in Walmart with the girl Bliss, and they're like shopping for bras. Now where the fitting room is, that's where the girls' panties are, the bras, all that type of stuff. And I remember I was so mad. And they did it to be smart. Now I didn't know the mother, his mother, very well. And I remember, like, I was so mad and I had a temper, and I'm calling them whores and all this kind of stuff because they were being smart, you know? I remember again, he picks me up and I'm like, your mother, and Bliss was, going in with that light shade, was in the store being smart, and I couldn't understand why, like, you know what I mean? Like, what was the problem? Like, why they were being like that? Because I just thought, like, okay, the mom favored the one girl, Bliss, because she knew Bliss first, and you know, they had 2 sons already and all that type of stuff, you know what I mean? Again, you know, she's still telling me that they're sleeping together. She was like, I just slept with him last night, and every time she'd call, I answered the phone, and I remember she would say, he told me the only reason why you're living there is because your mother and grandmother didn't like the fact that he's black, and they kicked you out, and you have no place to go, and he feels sorry for you. And I'm like, well, that's a lie. And then she was like, he just came to my house and we just had sex and blah, blah, and all that. And I'm like, but you know he's with me. And she would say, he's not with you, you're lying. So here she thinks I'm lying, that I'm just like there in a room because I don't have a place to go and he felt sorry for me because I'm pregnant. I'm thinking she's lying because she just wants him and is jealous. And this guy's having his cake and eat it too because we're both fighting each other. I mean, we have gotten fist fights. I mean, I remember when I was pregnant, I was like 6.5 months pregnant, and she would go, and where he lived was like a one-way. So right here, and so this way here, like I would hear her because we were close to like the stop sign, and she would go by and she would call his name screaming. Now she had 7 sisters and brothers, so, and I didn't have any. I had one brother that stopped speaking to me when I was pregnant, and so they would always ride by screaming his name, being smart. And I remember she came up the one way, and I had a temper even though I was pregnant and was a half a centimeter dilated. I remember she came up there and was calling his name again, and I remember I was on the porch, and I go out, and I remember like she stopped. Okay, she had her sisters in the car, but I had no fear at that time. And I remember going to the window, taking her hair and trying to pull her out of the door, and she puts the gas and goes, right? I mean, that's the stuff that we did. None of us ever really called the cops. We both weren't the type to call cops, you know? I'm going back in with this shade right here just to kind of blend that part up. I have no idea like what makeup look I'm going to do. I really don't. I think I'm going to go in with this deeper blue here called Blue Hour and kind of go in there. I don't know if this looks even going to turn out. So how I found out and how I finally left, so then I have the baby. I'm skipping a lot of parts. So I mean, this is all happening while I'm pregnant, you know what I mean? So I have the baby. And I remember, I had him early at 7 months, right? Because at that time I was 1.5 centimeters dilated, and they just couldn't stop it. And you know, like, it was just bad. And so, oh God, I really don't like this look. And so I remember, like, I was already nervous because the baby was so early. And I remember she called the hospital room, and she says to the guy, and she's like, I hope that baby dies, and all that. I'm going in with this first brush with nothing on it. I'm just going to try to blend it out. And all this kind of stuff. And I wanted to kill her. Like, you're going to call and say, I hope that baby dies. And you know, what does the baby have anything to do with it? You know. And I mean, so it really, I'm going to go in with both of these colors here and just kind of do something like on the top, because I don't like this look at all. And you know, that I just really thought she was jealous that I was having a baby by him. So I'm gonna move on in, you know, so we did a lot of fighting on and off and all this type of stuff. And finally, I think my son was about 3 years old. I mean, now let me just say this, we would break up and we would, you know, he would get back with her. And then maybe a month later they would break up and he would call me saying, I just want you back. And I'm still working at Walmart. And he would like send flowers there. And like I fell for it. And I didn't really want to be with him. It was more like I wanted to piss her off. Like, ha ha, I'm back with him and I'm living here. Even though we both look stupid, like that's what we did to each other. It was more like, ha ha, look. Young and dumb. Now this time I was probably about 19, 20, you know. Bliss and him were the same age. They were, you know. I'm going to go into this dark brown that's called Dark Room right here and try to make this look a little bit better. And if I sat there and told you all the fist fights and the fights and we have got arrested here and there with other people calling the cops and different things, we would be here for a long time. I'm going back in with that blue a little bit just to kind of like fix this, because it's, I don't know what I'm doing. And finally, we both came to our senses. I'm going in with that lighter color again and just tapping it. And she calls me, me and, you know, him are back together again, and she calls me and she's like, you know, he just left my house, because he didn't come home till like 2 in the morning, and I had a baby, so I couldn't always go out or whatever, and I had a car then, but I wasn't going to go out, you know, I don't know, I think it was like the night he said he was in this bowling league or something like this, and she calls me the next day, and and he was at Wendy's getting us food. I'm taking a makeup wipe and I'm just cleaning this up, and she was like, I just want to let you know that he just left my house earlier, and I mean the night before, and we had sex, and he came to my house, and we got a movie from you know, but this is when you can rent like VHS tapes and everything, and she was like, and then we had sex, and she had told me the store that they got, and back then that store was kind of like a Blockbuster, but it wasn't Blockbuster. When you go get another movie, the receipt will tell you the dates and the last movie and the time that you got that movie. So I was like, well, what movie is it? She told me the movie, the time, everything. So I play it off. He comes back from Wendy's, we eat, and I was like, hey, I'll be right back. Let's get some movies and stuff. He's like, oh, okay. So I go just to get any movie, and I look at the receipt, and it was exactly what she said. She said the time, I think she was like, it was like 8:45. They went to the store, the movie, and that's when it had. It had the exact time, everything. How? And it was in my name, because that's when you would have it on the keychain, you know what I mean? That you can scan it, and then he had an extra one. Okay, because how would she get my card? She had to know, right? So I finally left him. Now, at this time, my son was 3 years old. He was getting ready to have a birthday party. This is when you celebrated your birthday party and stuff at McDonald's. I waited just till we had that birthday party, and then I remember it was on the weekend, and that Monday he went to work, and when he went to work, like I had all my friends get together, we moved all my stuff, and I went back to my mom's house. And then we finally broke up. They got back together, and then they were only together for a few months, broke up, she moved on. You know, of course, I wasn't with anybody for years until I met my daughter's father. You know what I mean? It was like a few years. The lesson that I learned was how these men can play women and how they lie, and also how childish me and her were, going back and forth, and then really just trying to one up the other one. I mean, there were times where he would use my car, and she had blonde hair, and she would pull like some of her hair out and put it like in the back seat where the back window is, so that when I would go in, I would see her blonde hair to show me, haha, I was in this car. I mean, he'd pick her up in my car. I mean, the stupidest thing. And and we both stayed. But you gotta remember, we were both babies, right? You know? And she was with him first. And then I found out they were only broken up 3 weeks before me and him got together. So of course she was pissed off and hurt when he told me they've been broken up for months and months and months, and she had already moved on. So that whole time in the very beginning, I'm thinking she's calling because she's and wanting the kids to come over there when she knew I was there, because she was jealous and wanted to throw the kids in my face. Here, they were still messing around, and that's why he didn't want me answering the phone and stuff. So dumb. Even though he was abusive and all that, it was, I thought he loved me and he cared, and he was jealous. I mean, it's dumb. So I wanted to share that story so I can tell you what my daughter's friend and the guy is is going on the same thing. But what I'm going to do now is go off camera, put my foundation on, my concealer, and I'm going to set my face, and then I'm going to come back, and I have products here of a bronzer, blush, highlight, all the stuff I got in a subscription box. So I'm going to try that on camera, and then we'll come back and we'll share like what my similarities are with this one and the advice I have been giving to her. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back. I did my foundation, my concealer, I set my face, and then I did my lips. So I used like 4 different lipsticks, and then I put a lip gloss over it. Alright, so I'm going to go in with my bronzer, and I'm going to use this Juice bronzer. I have never used it. That's what it looks like. So I'm just going to put that on. Alright, so I left off telling you guys the story of like what happened to me. So when my daughter's friend came over, that the baby's about 5 months old, and the guy lives with her and her mom, okay? You know, she's always telling me how the guys always go, we'll call him what I'm using my water, Wellesley, okay? So Wellesley lives with the girl and the mom. What the hell is that? Anyway, this is very light, so that's why I keep going in, because it's a little bit light to my liking. I mean, it matches, like you can see it, but I usually like it to go a little bit darker, and then I blend it out. So I'm just going to keep layering it. Anyway, she would tell me, now the baby's about 5 months old, and she tells me how he goes out all the time, and he works night work, okay? But like, even like on his days off, he's saying that he's going out, and like he doesn't have anything to do with the baby, and like she hears all these cheating, you know, allegation. Girl, I gotta cover up that double chin, you know, with all these girls, and you know, she don't know what to do. And so this is what like I try, even like with my daughter, because of my own experiences, like everything in life is a lesson learned, you know, it is a test, I believe, you know, and to teach you things. And like I always, like I tell my daughter, like you cannot believe these men, you cannot. And you know, you have to have trust in relationship, but don't be naive and stupid like me, you know what I mean? And I said, but there has to be trust. But if these girls are steady coming up to you and telling you, look, your man's getting a hold of me, and now there's social media. Back then when I was growing up, there wasn't social media, you know what I mean? I'm like, you need to really start believing it, either like, be like an investigative. And I'm like, because men these days, they think they're slick, and they mess with a lot of these girls, and you know, The girls believe it, because why not? Because nowadays, I think a lot of girls aren't growing up with fathers anymore. Either they pass away, the mother or father break up, the guy's just not in their life, whatever the case may be. And there's a lot of stories where then the guy also gets with another person, has that family, and they forget about the first family. It just happens. And then there's a lot of guys, like my husband, who is such a good father. He's a good father to my daughter, and then he has a daughter, my stepdaughter. They're only 4 months apart, and he's so good. Because I always believed a little girl's first love is their father. And I don't mean like sexually, like that they learn that love, protection is from their daddy or a father figure. It could be an uncle or grandfather. And, you know, they learn how a man should treat you. Unlike me, where I didn't have that, I was just looking for love. And it didn't matter where I got it from. You know what I'm saying? And, I just feel bad for like I don't know. Like I try to teach my daughter, like, I'm just brushing it off now, and then kind of like taking the powder and blending in my bronzer. Like I even teach my daughter, first of all, what you need to do, what I wish I would have done was definitely 100% went to college, or at least worked, saved my money, because I know college isn't for everybody, but have a career. Because nowadays, like when I was growing up, you could have a job, but nowadays you have to have a career, right? Because now they can lay you off, and you know, all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, and then worry about being in a relationship or having a child, or even when you are in a relationship, don't worry about having kids. I think a lot of young people should travel. Now, this is before the pandemic and all this kind of stuff, but you should do everything that you want to do, because once you have a kid, then, you know, then you're kind of like stuck, right? And I do like this bronzer. You know, it does blend, but it also kind of takes the bronze away a little bit. But because I'm just testing out subscription boxes, you know, I would have went in back with this to deepen it up, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go in with this Laura Geller highlighter in Diamond Dust. I do remember I got this in a Tribe beauty box. And this is like a pinkier white color. Okay. It's alright. You can definitely see it. And then I always take my Dampen Beauty Blender and I push it in so it kind of melts in the skin and doesn't just look like that strip. You know what I mean? I've always done that. Then I'm going to go in with my blush. Where's my blush? Did I even pick a blush? No. Let me go get a blush. Hold the phone. Alright, I got this blush from Hip Dot. I just got this in my July little Ipsy bag. I already did that unboxing. I will leave it down below in case you want to check it out if you haven't watched it yet. But it is in this shade right here, in the shade Red Mood. And I always go right here. I don't know, I've been into this, and then I kind of put it on my nose. Now this is pigmented, so I'm gonna have to blend it out. And then I always take it and go back. She pigmented, let me blend that puppy out. But yeah, so that's what like I try to, I also put some like right here, kind of to match a little bit. But yeah, that's what I try to like tell her, like, you know what I mean? Stop worrying about what this guy is doing. He's living with you in your mama's house. Do you know what I mean? Like, kick him to the curb if he is not helping with the baby. If he's not doing what he's supposed to do. Why the heck do you have him living with you then? You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to be with the guy if you have a child. Yes, you would want to be in a perfect world. But I said, you're so young. I mean, she's 21. I'm like, you're so young. Do not waste your time like I did. Do you know what I mean? All right, so now I'm going to finish my under eye and then do my mascara, and then we are all done. All right, I'm going to go in with this shade right here and go like under my eyes. So let me know, and I always connect right here. So let me know down below, were you ever in a relationship like that? Like, you know, like young and dumb, and even now, like, do you know what I mean? Like, I even hear stories of women like our age, you know, but I mean, some people look at me like, okay, I have a husband and we have a pretty good marriage. I mean, we had our ups and downs, but I didn't meet my husband. I mean, I've known him since high school, but we didn't get into a relationship until I was 35. I got married at 36. We were together for 10 months before we got married, and he was 38 when we got married. And he literally his birthday's December 12th, and we got married on December 3rd, and we got married on December 12th. So we literally just turned 38. So we were both damn near 40 when we got married, my first marriage. So sometimes it takes a while. Now, I had 3 kids. I raised my kids. I didn't really think about a man. You know, as I got older, I got wiser. And I'm gonna deepen it up right here. I went into this first shade. I don't know what I told you before I was going into, because sometimes I start changing up. Then I'm going to go in with this deep blue, and I'm only going to go halfway in. All right, and there's my eye look. Okay, I'm going to go in with my mascara. So I am a hashtag natural lashes. Come on, get it together. And I'm going in with 4 mascaras. I'm going to go in with the Fenty, with the Bad Girl Bang from Benefit, Milk Cosmetics. This is the Kush, and then with my Thrive. This is like my favorite mascara. I cannot believe I forgot to do my waterline. So before I go in with my bottom coat, I usually only go in one time with my bottom coat with the Thrive Cosmetics. I don't go in anymore. Let's put this on. I usually put this on before I do my mascara. This is the Deuce in the shade of blue, which I have been wearing, but I think it would be perfect with this eye look. Alright, so my eye look is all done. Let me know down below, what do you think of it? So these palettes I like. I didn't think I was going to like the eye look, but now once it all came together, I actually like it. You know what I mean? And I think they're beautiful. I don't think I would use both of them together again, because like when I would do one look here, I kind of want a few other shades, but that's just a personal preference. But I'll definitely use both of the palettes again. Do you know what I mean? And then when I do a blue, I don't know, maybe I'll just keep to like this. You know, I got to clean this up because when I went in from here to here, I messed that up a little bit. But yeah, and I like the blush. The blush is beautiful after I blended it out. The highlighter was great. The bronzer is a little bit too light for me, so I do like the formula, but I wish it was in a deeper shade. But it's okay, you know. I can just deepen it up a little bit more. Like, I'll get more use out of it, but I'll probably go in with a different bronzer as well, if that makes sense. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of the look. Let me know what you think of these story times. Now, you know, like I wanted to start out doing a whole different story time, but you know how I am, I digress. I start talking about one thing and then I talk about something else and I get off the subject. That is just how I am in real life. You know what I mean? Alright guys, that's everything. And if you have some advice for my daughter's friend, please let me know down below, that maybe I can tell her as well. Let me know what you guys think. And yeah, that's everything. Please give this video a like. It really does help me out. The more likes that I get, the more Tube will promote this video. We are trying to get to 10K and we are getting there slowly but surely. Alright guys, stay beautiful, stay blessed, stay healthy, and most importantly, stay you. And I will see you in my next video. Bye.